This traffic stop was about to become this police officer's worst nightmare. Marcus was just finishing his nightly bike ride when the cruiser appeared behind him. For 6 blocks, it followed him. No siren, just watching. Then the lights flashed, and the officer's first words weren't "good evening." They were an accusation. "You ran that stop sign back there." But Marcus knew he'd stopped. He always stopped. What the officer didn't know was that Marcus had a perfect, undeniable witness that would turn this entire confrontation upside down. This isn't just about a traffic ticket. This is about what happens when technology exposes the truth. Marcus lived for these evening rides. As a graphic designer who spent all day in front of screens, this was his freedom. The quiet suburban streets were his sanctuary. He knew every crack in the pavement, every dog that barked from behind a fence, every four-way stop where he always put his foot down. He followed the rules meticulously: helmet, lights, hand signals. He was the kind of cyclist who made drivers happy, but he could never escape the second set of rules, the unwritten ones, the subtle clutch of a purse when he rode past, the woman who quickened her pace when she saw him, the way some neighbors' smiles didn't quite reach their eyes. He moved through this neighborhood with what he called quiet awareness, always respectful, always visible, always careful not to appear threatening. Tonight, that careful awareness would be tested in ways he never imagined. The officer who stepped out moved with the swagger of someone used to being unquestioned. His sunglasses hid his eyes, but his body language screamed contempt. License. Registration. The words were a demand, not a request. For a bicycle? Marcus's genuine confusion slipped out. Mistake. The officer's face hardened. Don't get cute. You blew through that stop sign like it wasn't even there. Marcus felt his stomach drop. Officer, I promise you, I came to a complete stop. I always do. You always do? The officer leaned in close enough that Marcus could see his own worried reflection in the sunglasses. I watched you. You just rolled right through. You people always think the rules don't apply to you. The words "you people" hung between them like a physical blow. Suddenly, this wasn't about a stop sign anymore. This was about something much deeper, much uglier. The officer began circling Marcus's bike like a shark. So what are you doing in this neighborhood? Where do you live? Where are you headed? Each question felt like a violation. Marcus's hands started shaking on the handlebars. He knew this dance. One wrong word, one sudden movement, and this could escalate from humiliation to danger. Then the officer's voice dropped to a false, friendly tone. Look, I can write you a $285 ticket right now, or you can admit you made a mistake, apologize for your attitude, and we can both go home. The trap was set. Admit to a crime he didn't commit, or face financial punishment. The flashing lights painted the nearby houses in pulses of blue and red, a public shaming. Marcus felt utterly powerless. His word meant nothing against the badge. The officer's pen hovered over the ticket pad, a smug smile playing on his lips. He had won. Marcus's mind raced. Dignity or safety? Principle or pragmatism? Then Marcus's eyes dropped to his handlebars, to the small computer mounted there. And in that heartbeat, everything changed. I'm not apologizing, Marcus said, his voice suddenly steady. And I didn't run that stop sign. The officer's head snapped up. What did you say? My bike computer, Marcus said, pointing. It's GPS enabled. It doesn't just track my route, it records my speed at every moment. It shows exactly when I stop and for how long. It has proof of every complete stop I made tonight. The officer's confidence flickered. I don't care about your little toy, I know what I saw. The data doesn't lie, Marcus said, his voice gaining strength. It will show that I made a complete stop at every intersection, including the one you're accusing me of running. It will prove I'm telling the truth. The power in the encounter shifted violently. The officer was no longer facing a nervous cyclist. He was facing cold, hard, undeniable data. The pen lowered. The ticket was suddenly forgotten. The officer stood there, exposed, his authority crumbling before a truth he couldn't bully or intimidate. The officer muttered something about being more careful and practically fled back to his cruiser. The confrontation was over, but the victory felt hollow. Marcus stood shaking in the sudden silence. He rode home, but the streets that had once been his sanctuary now felt like hostile territory. He filed a formal complaint with the GPS data as evidence. The officer was disciplined, but no internal affairs ruling could erase the trauma of that encounter. This story exposes a painful truth about our society, that for many people, their word alone isn't enough, that they need digital proof to be believed, that the presumption of innocence isn't a universal right, but a privilege that depends on who you are. So we have to ask ourselves, how many people without bike computers or phone cameras are being forced to choose between their dignity and their safety right now? How many are accepting punishments for crimes they didn't commit because they lack the tools to prove their innocence? True justice shouldn't require a digital alibi. It should be built on the fundamental belief that every person deserves to be believed. The next time you witness someone being doubted or dismissed, ask yourself, are you seeing the whole truth, or are you seeing what bias wants you to see? The answer to that question determines what kind of world we're building together.